The story continues with Earth and his bear buddy arriving in the South City. Earth apologizes for making the bear run whole night, but the bear isn't bothered. They notice people singing and playing instruments on the streets, and Earth wonders if there's a festive season. The bear explains that each fairy kingdom city sponsors different arts: literature in the north, painting in the east, sculpture in the west, and music in the south. Earth thinks of exploring the music scene but is too tired. The bear suggests an inn, and the owner mentions no problem with Earth staying because he is with wild hair Zetten, who recommends him. Earth is confused by the name but learns it's that Zetten gets embarrassed by this. In his room, he thinks it's a blessing to get help from a famous fairy. Logging out for sleep, the next day, he finds he can't get up and discovers the fairy queen under his blanket. She refuses to let him go, and the inn owner, walking in, witnesses the scene. He leaves, and Earth asks for help. The bear arrives, laughing at the situation. The fairy queen reveals herself, shocking the inn owner and bear. Suddenly, the dragon sister appears, shocking the other two even more. She inquires about the fairy queen's actions, and the fairy queen replies that she came to apologize for the actions of Dog Girl in the southern city. She reveals that Dog Girl, along with her father and their private army of 80 soldiers, was punished. Earth asks about the punishment, and the fairy queen happily describes teleporting them to an empty field and nearly killing them 30 times while healing them 29 times. She also mentions that Dog Girl was demoted to the lowest rank soldier. However, the bear dude and little guy find it hard to believe. Ryu adds that her sister revealed her true persona, and she will start scaring people away. Earth dismisses everything, mentioning how everyone else has treated him fairly. He reveals he won't leave the country because of Dog Girl. The fairy queen becomes ecstatic, resembling a happy child, but Ryu smacks her on the head. She tells her to stop using her disgusting appeal. Out of nowhere, the two girls start arguing until Ryu pulls her ear and slowly takes her older sister away. The bear dude takes the chance to mention that Earth is not only close to their queen but also to the dragon kind. The inn owner also asks if Earth knew that fairies used to be at war with other races. Earth is confused, but the owner explains that dragons were the toughest opponents during that war. Surprised, Earth learns that town citizens would panic if they knew a dragon was there. They promise to keep it a secret, and little guy leaves them to talk. Earth couldn't believe this just happened, but the bear calls him a lucky guy because the queen had her eyes on him. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and it's a girl looking for wild hair Zetten. She reveals that her daughter is missing and asks Earth to find her. Earth tells her to calm down and asks for all the details. The girl, named Karen, sits down and introduces herself as part of the noble Fenner family. Wild hair mentions that they'll help, and Karen explains that her daughter takes a walk at the same hour every day but hasn't returned. Karen suspects something worse and shows them her daughter's picture, promising a reward. Wild hair accepts the request, and Earth assures them of his help. Karen promises fair compensation, and the trio heads to the streets to find clues. Wild hair apologizes for dragging Earth into this, but he dismisses it as a way to thank him for bringing him there. The bear suggests Earth should cook him some food as thanks. As they walk in the forest, they sense monsters, goblins, around them. The boys easily defeat them, and Wild hair praises Earth's reliable fighting skills. Earth thinks the bear could overpower any monster with his strength. Checking the map, Earth spots several dots nearby, and they decide to investigate. Using his long-distance vision skill, Earth finds Mina, Karen's daughter, surrounded by goblins. Earth shares his plan with Wild hair. The bear will run past the goblins and splash a potion on Mina while he is providing support. They quickly implement the plan, and the goblins prepare to attack. Earth uses his archer skills to protect Mina, while Wild hair charges in. The potion is splashed onto Mina, healing her instantly. Zetten asks her to hold on for a while, and they deals with the remaining goblins. After dealing with every goblin, Earth approaches the two. Wild hair mentions it was easy to fight because of Earth's support, and Mina thanks them for helping her. Wild hair explains that her mother requested them to find her, and they introduce themselves. Upon hearing the bear's name, Mina goes crazy, calling herself lucky. Earth interrupts them to ask why Mina didn't transform into her wolf form. Mina explains that while walking, she smelled something sweet that made her mind go blank. She later came back to her senses and noticed she was surrounded by goblins. She tried to transform but couldn't. Earth gives her a potion and tells her to try transforming. She follows his advice and successfully transforms, but is confused about why she couldn't earlier. Earth say that he used an anti-poison potion, concluding that someone poisoned her. He tells her to return to her human form and go back home. Zetten follows Earth's request and leaves with Mina. Earth, resting for a moment, looks back to the bushes and reveals there was the non-monster icons he saw on his map. He throws an explosion pot onto the bush, knowing someone controlled the goblins and poisoned Mina. A guy jumps out and questions why Earth is attacking him. Earth replies that kidnapping and killing are actions of villains. The guy gets mad, but Earth realizes he's a human, not a player. If he lets the guy escape, relations between humans and fairies could deteriorate. The guy pulls a knife and attacks Earth, but he teleports away and kicks him on the head. The guy tries to get up, mentioning he's a human while they are fairies, but Earth doesn't care. He only cares if they can cooperate or not. The guy attempts to attack again but gets destroyed by Earth. Earth believes the best case scenario is for fairies and humans to recognize their strengths and weaknesses, holding hands while moving forward. However, if they have to fight, he will side with the fairies and won't show mercy to humans. Later, Earth decides to walk back and is surprised to see the bear and Mina waiting for him. He asks if they didn't go back, and Zeton replies that he wanted to see if Earth could catch the bad guy. Earth mentions the guy was just disposed of, and Zeton tells him to hop on his back. Minutes later, Karen finally reunites with her daughter and thanks them for the help. She will be rewarding each of them with 100,000 glow. However, Earth wants something more as a reward. He asks Karen to let Zeton and Mina to spend quality time together. The two are shocked, but Mina gets shy. Earth uses this to reveal that she's interested in Zeton. This gives Mina the courage to express her interest in Zeton, who turns out to be shocked and asks for an explanation. Earth mentions Zeton's words that morning, wishing that he could also get a cutie. Mina quickly holds Zeton, making him lose his composure. Earth then takes them out of his room and calls for the Fairy Queen. She quickly appears, asking if he's going to confess to her just to get another smack on the head. He then explains what happened, and she reveals that they cannot allow a confrontation between humans and fairies to happen. He agrees, and she thanks him for his help. To prevent this, she promises to investigate. Earth mentions he will go to bed, asking her to leave, but she quickly jumps into his bed, mentioning they will be sleeping together. He refuses and yells at her to return. She jumps out of bed, asking him when she will see him next. Earth promises it will be soon, but she refuses to leave until he makes a promise. She reveals that she wants to show him some gratitude, but he asks if she's saying that as the Queen of Fallon. She confirms, mentioning that, after all, he prevented some conflict. He then promises that he will meet her again, but she doesn't have to show him some gratitude. She agrees, but Earth thinks that if she keeps him under surveillance, she will be just like Dogface. The next day, Earth decides to return to his previous main city because he needs more enhanced oils and to repair his bow. Zeton comes out of his room, and Earth decides to ask how things went with Mina. But Zeton's face is all red, and she appears behind him. Earth quickly figures it out, and Zeton shyly mentions he will be living with Mina at the Fenner mansion. They will be heading there soon. Zeton apologizes to Earth for not being able to take him back. Earth dismisses it and thanks him for the fun time together. The two bump fists, and the bear departs with his main girl. The inn owner, however, mentions that it's a long way back. But Earth has a trick up his sleeve. He calls up the Picara, impressing the inn owner. He reveals that not even noble families can ride them. Earth then reveals it was all a joke when suddenly the Picara lands in front of them. They cannot believe their eyes, but Earth takes the ride after flying for a bit. Earth instructs the Picara to drop him near the city to avoid any commotion. The bird is disappointed, but Earth decides to thank him by preparing some food. The bird eagerly devours everything and rolls around in happiness. Suddenly, the Picara plucks one of its feathers and gives it to Earth. It is revealed to be a legendary item with lot of perks. Earth expresses gratitude for the item, and the bird leaves. He returns to the blacksmith place, mentioning that he came to get some gear despite the lack of items. Earth manages to craft another X-style hunting bow made of light metal. Despite being heavier, it has 55 attack points, way higher than his former one. He then decides to test it when he notices an announcement. He thinks the challenge of the dead has been fully completed, but suddenly, a holographic girl appears. She mentions that he has released the souls of those who were suffering. She continues to provide more information that the event rewards are limited and will be given to certain individuals. It turns out that to get them, players must participate in a PvP tournament. She asks if he will join, but despite the attractive rewards, Earth presses the no button. Suddenly, he hears some screams and decides to investigate. He finds 3 people collapsed on the ground around a dragon egg that just hatched. This brings an end to our episode.